The clock ticked past midnight. Sarah Martinez, laser-focused on her laptop, didn't notice. She was used to the silence of her office, the city lights painting the glass walls. Tonight, however, the silence felt different. Heavier.
It's just the chill in the air, nothing more.
Unbeknownst to Sarah, a pair of eyes watched her from the shadows across the street. He knew her schedule, her habits, even the way she tucked her hair behind her ear. He had become her shadow, her silent observer. Tonight, the observation was ending. Tonight, the game began.
Finally, done for the night.
Sarah finally closed her laptop, the sudden quiet amplifying the city's hushed symphony. As she moved toward the elevator, a strange unease settled in her stomach. The elevator dinged, its metallic doors parting like a mouth ready to swallow her whole. She stepped inside, the doors closing behind her, sealing her fate. The air in the elevator seemed to thin, replaced by a metallic tang. Sarah felt a wave of dizziness. Her hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp.
What's happening?
The last thing she remembered was a gloved hand clamping over her mouth and nose. The world dissolving into a dizzying black void.
Where am I?
She woke up with a gasp, disoriented, her head pounding. She was lying on a plush bed, the sheets soft against her skin. The room was luxurious, bathed in a soft, warm light. But the opulence did little to calm the fear that clawed at her throat. Panic surged through her veins. She was trapped. Her eyes darted around, taking in the details of her gilded cage. Heavy velvet curtains covered the windows, blocking any view of the outside world. A mahogany desk sat in a corner, adorned with a silver pen and a single, crisp white envelope. It was an invitation to her own personal hell.
What is this?
With trembling hands, she reached for the envelope. Her name was scrawled across the front in elegant cursive. Inside, a single sentence, chilling in its simplicity. Let the games begin.
Who would do this and why?
Her mind raced, trying to make sense of the situation. Who would do this and why? Across town, Detective James Chen stared at the board in front of him. Photos of young women, all successful, all vanished without a trace, stared back at him. The latest addition was Sarah Martinez.
He traced her picture with a calloused finger, a grim determination settling on his face. There was a pattern here, a connection he couldn't quite grasp. These weren't random abductions. This was something more sinister, more calculated. He could feel it in his gut. He wouldn't rest until he found them, until he stopped whoever was playing God with these women's lives.
Sarah paced the plush confines of her prison, her mind a whirlwind of fear and confusion. Suddenly, a terrifying thought pierced the fog of her panic.
All the missing women, myself included, had one thing in common. We had all been patients of the same therapist, Dr. Julian Frost.
The realization hit her like a physical blow. This wasn't random, this was personal, and she was trapped in a twisted game orchestrated by someone who knew her deepest fears, her darkest secrets.
Someone who understood the inner workings of my mind, someone I had trusted.